Hello, I'm Ogisufi, the computer guru. Subscribe to learn everything about computer.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this lecture we are going to feature we are going to learn how to create an automatic table of contents in a, when you are working like in a report, or for undergraduates who is writing his own project work, or for a master student who is writing his thesis or dissertation up to PhD. So for you to generate an automatic table of content and how to work with headings, today this is what we are going to talk about, and we expect everybody to listen attentively. So now this is our Microsoft Office. It is already open, and if we want to generate an automatic table of contents and work with headings, I think it's not a big deal. You just need to pay attention and understand what we're going to do. So now let's say, let me delete one from here. So in the whole thing now, for instance, you have to divide your work. It must have a section. For example, we have chapter 1, then under chapter 1 we have section 1. I already copied the text, I paste. We have section 2. We have section 2, I paste. We have section 3, I paste. Under section 3 now, let's say we have subsection 1, I paste. Subsection 2, I paste. Then under, again, we still have section 4. We still have like section 5. Under section 5 now, let's say we have subsection 1. We have subsection 2. At best. So now we still have chapter 2. We have chapter 2. Sorry, under chapter 2 we have section 1. This is what we have in section 1. Then section 2 of chapter 2. Section 3. Section 3 of chapter 3. Then under section 3 we still have subsection 1. We have subsection 2. Then we have section 4. So let's go. Let's say we still have chapter 3. Under chapter 3 we have section 1. I paste. We have section 2. I paste. We have section 3. I paste. Then we have under section 3 we have subsection 1, subsection 2, then we have section 4. This for instance. So now the way you are going to arrange it is, you must have to differentiate each section. You give each section to a particular heading. So now chapter 1, now everywhere we have chapter, that's chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, we make it heading 1. But you have to set it from here first. You have to set it from here. Yes, I need something like my chapters to be Times New Roman, a little bit bold, and let's say I want to use 20. Then I need a little space, that's 1.5. Then I want it to be bold. So now this is my heading 1. Then I will highlight it, right click on it, then update to match selection. So everywhere you see chapter now, under chapter 2, this is our chapter 2. You come here, everywhere chapter is found is now heading 1. You can see it, chapter 3 now. I'm looking for chapter 3. This chapter 3, I mark it, then mark heading 1. Heading 1 belongs to chapters. So subsection 1 now. Subsection 1, I need it to be, let's say I still want I will use this font Tahoma to differentiate it for you, and the font size I want it to be 12 or 14%. I want it to be 14, 16, anyone you choose. Then I want it bold. Now I'm applying this to be the second heading. Now you right click on the second heading, then update to match selection. Everywhere there is section now, just come to this section. Everywhere there is section, it is your heading 2. Section 3, you give it heading 2. Section, this is subsection, so you would skip it. It's different from section now. This is section 4. This is section 5. This is under chapter 2. We have section 1, section 2. Every of the section is under heading 2. That's the second heading. It goes to sections, goes to second heading. As we go, click on the second heading. Come here, chapter 3 now. We have section 1, second heading. Section 2 is the second heading. Section 3, second heading, because it is a section. Don't forget, we are dealing with sections now. Section 4. We are done with sections. So now, subsections. We are using heading 3 for our subsections. Subsection 1. How do I want it to look? How do I want my subsection to look? Let me use a different font. This font, the size should be 12. I think it is enough. So now, as it is, you come to heading 3, right click on it, update to match selection. Each subsection now is heading 3. Each of subsection is heading 3. Don't forget, we say each subsection is heading 3. Subsection 2 is heading 3. Subsection 1 under this is section heading 3. Subsections fall under heading 3. Everywhere we have subsection, you quickly select heading 3. You can see it now. It applies all the formatting I gave it. So now, how do you generate? Okay, now we still have the body of the text. Apart from so the body of the text, you can see it is falling here. So how do I want the body of the text to look like? Let me just mark it for the first one. I will justify it. Then how do I want it to be? Let it be Times New Roman. The font, the spacing should be 2.0, and then the size should be 12. Are we going? So now, each of these now, I will update to match. Come, look at this. I'm going to use this to update to match the body of the text. Right click, update. every of the text will now change, because every body of the text, it now changes to the format I use as body of the text. Now, so to generate your table of contents is just as easy as it could be. You come to reference, click on reference, you come to table of contents. So now you don't need to select this, just come to custom. So now under the custom, now you can observe this is hyperlink. You show page number, or you don't want it to show, and this is the tab leader you want it. So modify, let's make some modification. The table of contents is the table of content 1, that's for the heading 1. How do you want it to look like? How do you want it to look like? How do you want it to look like? You can make some modification here. My heading 1, I want it in Times New Roman. Maybe the font size should be 18. Then what next? Let's come to this format tabs. You just clear all tabs. Okay, come to table of content 2, modify it, Times New Roman. Then let me get something like 14. Under this format tabs, clears. Okay, this is not necessary, but we just follow us. Modify this Times New Roman. This for the subsection, which is table of content 32 OC3. Let me just leave it 12. The format now tabs, I will just clear it, give me a default. So now you just come. Okay, can you see it? We have generated table of content. So now let's say we want to make an edit. Chapter 1, this section 1, let's change it to introduction, or background to the study. Subsection section 2, let's say it is the statement of the problem. This is section 3. We said aim and objectives. Then subsection 1, now let's change it to aims. Aim. Subsection 2, let's change it to objectives. Then section 4, now let's say significance of the study. Section 5, we're still in chapter 1. Section 5 now, let's say scope and limitation of the study. Our section 1, let's say is the scope. Do we still have any subsection? Section 2, now we have limitations. Going. So under chapter 2 now, let's try. Okay, we've edited something in chapter 1. You just come to a table of content. You don't need to come here and be typing what you just edited. You just come and right click. You can see the update field. Everything you updated inside the text will now be updated. You can see it changes directly. It gives you the page number they appear on. You can see it. So now we haven't edited for chapter 2. You come to chapter 2. Now this is our chapter 2, section 1. Let's say is conceptual framework. Section 2, let's say we have empirical review. Then section 3, now let's change it to theoretical framework. So we have subsection 1. Let's say under theoretical framework we have system theory. Subsection 2, we have let's find a theory and just name it. We have let's make it a theory. Feminist theory. Section 4, now under chapter 2, let's make it summary of literature. So under chapter 3 now, section 1, let's say we have research design. Section 2, let's make it population. For the study. Section 3, let's say we have sample and sampling technique. Subsection 1 here, let's say is sample size. We see our subsection 2, let's say we'll make it sampling technique. Section 4, let's say method of data collection. So now you don't just need to come here and start typing what you have here. You just come to the table, you right click, update field. So all the updates we did inside the text will appear here, as you can see here. So in short, this is how to give yourself a fantastic table of contents. So you may want it to have numbering like 1.1, in chapter 1, background to the study to be 1.1, then statement of the problem to be 1.2, and an objective is 1.3. You don't need to come back here and be typing 1.2. No, this is not done this way. You just come to home, come here, then select how do you want the numbering to look like. If it is, you want it to, if you want heading 1 to be 1 point, then heading 2 to be 1.1, heading 3 to be 1 point, that's the subsection. The section, the first heading, that's the chapter to be 1. Then under the chapter you want the section to be 1.1, that's the, then you click, let's say we use this for the normal standards numbering system for thesis and dissertation. You can see it now, it numbers them automatically for chapter 2, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.3.1, 2.3.2, 2.4. Chapter 3 now we have 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.3.1 for the subsection. You can see it now. This is how it is being done. Just as easy as it is. When you come here to update the field, you can update the entire table now. You can see it. The number will come down the way it is. Chapter 1, chapter 2, 1.1. Everything you amend from the body of the work, you equally have it here. So now, maybe probably your supervisor says in a situation where you wanted to change this background, let's say all the sections now, you want it to change the font completely. You don't need to our table of content now is in hypertext. Just look at it. When I just put my arrow like this, it reads Control plus click to follow link. All your table of content now is a link. You click on, let's say, Control now. I want to go where significance of the story is. Just click. It takes me direct to where significance of the story is. You can see how when you want to go to where empirical review is, click Control. It takes me to where empirical review is. You can see I want to go to my sample and sampling technique. Just hold your control, click, it goes. That's just like this hyperlink. This is what is called hyperlink. So now this is a very simple. So maybe in a situation whereby maybe from your supervisor, or you realize that you made a mistake, from what you have here, you can see the font type is Tahoma and the font size is 16, and maybe it is required that you change the font. Maybe your supervisor or the standard format for your department requires that all these sections should be on Times New Roman and the font size should be 12. So you just click on one, any one you click from the sections. Aim and objective, for instance, I select this part of the section. You just come Times New Roman, you change it to 12. Then you come to this one, is our heading 2. You just come to heading 2, right click on it, update. You understand? You just update it. So everywhere in your thesis now, your section 2 will reflect that correction you did. And same thing if your subsections, it is also required that your subsection should be in maybe times, the font size should be 14, and the font type should also be Times New Roman and in bold, or bold and italics. So now you just come, as I just amended this one, you come to your heading 3. Everywhere heading 3 is applicable, you update it to meet. All your heading 3 now, that's the subsection, will now change to this new format you just did. And maybe my chapter 1 is required that it is centralized. So I will just come down here, centralize my chapter 1, then highlight, update to match format. I just update to match format. Everywhere chapter 1, which is my first heading, chapters, will be centralized. So you can see, and if it is body of the text that maybe the standard format or for your department requires that it is, now we have, it is Tahoma, it is Times New Roman, sorry, and the font size is 12. So whenever you just come, highlight anywhere, not necessarily the full paragraph, anywhere, just make an amendment. Let's say they wanted it on Calibri 16, the font size should be 16. As you just did, just quietly come to it, right click and update format. Everywhere inside your body of the text will now change to Calibri, as you can see it here. So this is just as easy as it is. Let me just undo it. So we hope you will continue to follow our computer classes in this very important channel. I will urge everybody to subscribe to Oga Sufi channel so as to benefit from all we are going to bring pertaining computer. With this, I will call it a day. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being with us in this channel. I'll say goodbye. Have a nice day.